Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. Already off to a good start. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to League Racing TV. There we go. Got my voice clear just in time to actually be able to speak for the start of the stream. We're off to a good start. So welcome back to League Racing TV for round 3 of the Formula 2 Championship. My name is Hayden Carter, as always, taking you through the stream today. And joining me in the comment box once again is Luke Etheridge. Luke, how you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Glad to see your voices cleared up slightly from a couple of seconds ago.
Already off to a good start.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
Oh god, yeah. Well, we're coming obviously into round 3 of the championship. Round 3 obviously taking place at Azerbaijan, as you can see. Looking forward to anything specifically for this round, are you, Luke? Is there anything that stands out that you think could be exciting today?
There's always going to be some slipstreaming battles down the huge last sector. I was going to say the final straight, but all the way from the exit of turn 16, you're nearly flat out in an F2 car, all the way down to turn 1. So I expect plenty of slipstreaming down there. It's going to be a very interesting qualifying session, I feel, and a very interesting race. There'll be a lot of mistakes. I think a lot of pit stops. It's a very difficult track, Azerbaijan. Personally, I think it's one of the most difficult on the full F1 calendar, never mind just the F2 calendar. So could be very interesting. Could be whoever's the most consistent driver tonight and who can keep it nice and clean could do a really good performance. So drivers such as Graham, who is currently second in the Drivers' Championship, could have a really good night tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you say, consistency is key around this track, and keeping it out of the wall is a big enough task in itself, let alone battling people around this track. And as you say, Graham's is second in the championship, so we'll run you through the top 10 in the championship coming into round 3. So it's Blizzard that leads the way on 81 points. He already has a 29-point lead. He's off to a great start in his championship defence over Graham in second place, Scuba in third after a better showing last time out in Spain. Siege is fourth ahead of Coutinho fifth. He obviously missed the race last time out. Legend, his Trident teammate, is in sixth. They had a Maze in seventh. Z3's at eighth. On level on points with Nino for eighth place. He's in ninth in the top 10. And Honey Badger rounds off the top 10 on 31 points. But just based on the season we've seen so far, would you say it's Blizzard versus Scuba at this point for the championship?
I think a lot could depend on tonight to see how Coutinho does, because he obviously had a very good performance in the first race of the season. I also think there's a few other drivers that we're going to get to see. Josh wasn't here last time around. He did really well in qualifying in the feature race for Bahrain. Obviously got pole position, finished second in that and retired from the sprint race. Wasn't here last time, so well, 4 points, but that's you can make that up nearly in one full weekend. There's going to be a point where Blizzard gets involved in an incident. I can't imagine him keeping up this amazing podium streak that he's on at the moment, and some of the other drivers need to be there to capitalise on that if and when that does happen.
Absolutely, and like you said earlier on, Azerbaijan is probably the track where it's most likely to happen. It's obviously quite a chaotic track. We're just getting ready for one short qualifying, waiting for everyone to put their setups on and choose their set of tyres before we get going. Just a note as well, a couple of new additions to the race today. We've got NSR Pariah, he's in the MP Motorsport, and Matt Tibos, he's obviously racing tonight as well. He's new to the league, but going into turn 1, we're going to be on board with Josh for our one-shot qualifying around Azerbaijan. Let's see how he can do. Obviously a very good qualifier based on his Bahrain performance. Coming up into turn 2, nice left to grid. Oh, he actually has a massive rear lock there into turn 2. Well held. He actually uses the wall to try and keep him from stopping spinning. He doesn't pick up any damage, so he's very lucky. We'll stay on board with Josh for the rest of the lap, but that was a massive sideways moment on the brakes in turn 2. Coming now down into turn 3, another left-hand 90-degree corner. Clips Apex on the inside, runs it right to the wall on the outside. Much better run through turn 3 as he comes into turn 4 towards the end of the first sector now. So wait and see who's going to be at the top through the first sector. It looks like it's a race between Coutinho and Blizzard at the top at the moment. Now into the second sector as Siege has retired from the session. He's been at the front of the season all the way through round 1 and 2, so he's already out of the session here. That's a shame for him as we now come up into the famous Castle section, the most famous point on this track. He uses a lot of inside curve, does Josh. Now coming up into Castle, so easy to run wide and hit the wall on the outside. Josh, though, absolutely nails the run through there. Gets a little bit sideways over the top of the hill. It's not unexpected around this track. It's very easy to do so at that corner. Now coming down the double kink back straight, really, as Pariah's retired from the one-shot qualifying session as well. We now come down into probably one of the hardest corners on the track, the downhill left-hander. He bounces over the curb on the inside, gets away with it, and actually Josh has worked his way back up into second. This has been a great second half of the lap for Josh. Looks like Blizzard might have actually invalidated his qualifying time as we come now out of turn 16. Now down the long pit straight, as you say, almost flat out all the way through. Probably flat out in qualifying as he comes through into 6th gear, through the kink, and now the long run down to the straight. Who's got the best straight line speed set up? Who's got the best straight line speed coming up to the line? It's a long run to the line. It looks like Coutinho's got pole position wrapped up, and Josh looks to have 2nd place on the grid wrapped up. It's Bahrain all over again, but across the line, Coutinho's going to take pole position by, look at that, less than half a tenth of a second. Josh's second half of that lap was stellar, not for that mistake in turn 2. Josh would have been on pole by a country mile.
Yeah, very close qualifying indeed. Coutinho just taking that and the 2 bonus points, which could be all important at the end of the season, and fairly close actually with a few other drivers. Second over the grid, Yarham and Legend, only 18,000 separating them, and Z Freakser 4 thousandths ahead of Scuba, who got pole last time around.
Wow, absolutely. So some really close qualifying all the way through. Well, the top 6 only covered by less than 6 tenths of a second, so really close qualifying. Championship leader disqualifies from the session for invalidating at some point in the lap. So let's run you through the full grid. It's Coutinho on pole, ahead of Josh in 2nd. Yaram's in 3rd, ahead of Legend in 4th. Z3's 5th. Scuba 6th. May 7th. Wesker 8th. Graham down in 9th, ahead of Frankie in 10th. Corboy and Matt Tibos in 11th and 12th, the only other people to set lap times. Blizzard, Pariah and Siege, 2 big names there, not able to set a time in qualifying.
Yeah, surprising indeed, especially from Blizzard. He's been so consistent so far. He usually likes going for the alternative strategy when he's been starting at the front of the grid. I'm almost certain he'll go for that this time around as well here at Azerbaijan. Just needs to keep it clean because, as I said, there will be incidents in this race.
Absolutely, yeah. So look out for him to go for that alternate strategy once again. Like you say, he has run that in both feature races so far. He's run the alternate strategy. It didn't quite work out for him in Bahrain, but it definitely paid dividends in Spain last time out. Let's wait and see then what everyone goes for on strategies. But just based on qualifying, do you think it's a 2-horse race at the moment between Coutinho and Josh for the win?
You'd have to say so. I have seen that a few times actually in other leagues in F2 races around here. There always seems to be a couple of drivers who just get this circuit absolutely nailed. We did see Josh made a mistake. Obviously, that's the only car we see. Who knows whether Coutinho, we know Blizzard definitely made a mistake on his lap. Who knows if anyone else did. I'm sure they'll, for the sake of the race, kind of hoping that they made a mistake. Otherwise, Josh could end up winning this quite straightforward indeed. But we'll have to see what happens. Have to see who can keep it nice and clean. It's going to be interesting with Blizzard and Siege fighting their way up through the back of the field. And to be honest, I know he's fairly high up the grid, but I did expect Scuba to do a bit better than 6th position.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that as well. Scuba in 6th place, obviously took pole last time out in Spain. Doesn't seem to quite have the confidence at this track that he did at Spain last time out. So we'll have to wait and see whether he can recover in the race. I think this is perfect as well for Coutinho, obviously missing last time out. Here's the championship leader down in 13th. He's currently on pole. Prime opportunity to gain back some of the points he lost by not being at Spain. Having a look at the tyre strategies though. First person on the alternate strategy starting on the mediums will be Wesker. So Wesker in 8th place is the first person to go for it. There is a 2-step tyre difference this time around, so it's super softs versus medium, so the pace difference between the 2 tyres at the start are going to be quite big. Further down the field, the other 4 drivers that have gone for the mediums at the start are Frankie, Corboy, Matt Tibos and Blizzard. Pariah and Siege looking to make up places early, starting on the super softs at the back, but that 2-step tyre difference is going to play a massive difference at the start of this race.
Yeah, massive difference at the start, and importantly as well towards the end of this race when the mediums will be starting to wear and the super softs will be starting to wear out as well. You could see cars around what is an exceptionally long circuit getting caught up 2-3 seconds of that quite comfortably. So it'll be interesting to see how it works. And let's not forget, we've had a lot of safety cars so far this season. That could easily play a part once again.
Absolutely, yeah, especially lap 1 with the castle section. As I said earlier, it's the most famous point on the track. It's such a narrow point. It's the most narrow point we'll ever see on the calendar at the moment, all the way through the season. So that is definitely a prime spot for some sort of incident early on in the race. It looks like someone's actually spun at the castle section on the formation lap. So castle seems to have already claimed its first victim. I think it might be Frankie that spun at the top of the hill there. But having a look around the rest of the track, really, the best overtaking points obviously are turn 1 and turn 3 at the end of the DRS zones, but other than that, it's actually relatively difficult to make a move stick around here.
Yeah, most definitely. There are points where you can be brave enough. If you get a good enough exit out of the turn 5-6 chicane, you might be able to throw one down the inside at 7. Again, if someone makes a mistake through turn 15, which is an extremely tricky corner, as you mentioned on the qualifying lap, you might have a chance into 16, but then obviously you've got to try and stick behind someone just because of the DRS being so powerful with the long slipstreaming down this straight. So I'd imagine turn 1 and turn 3 where we'll see most of the conventional action in the first few laps. Maybe towards the end when the tyres are running out, pretty much every single corner, apart from the castle section, will become an overtaking zone.
Absolutely, yeah. So that is one thing to look out for. If people do make mistakes, you can overtake here, but other than that, it is going to be difficult for people to maybe break the toe with the DRS. Just before we get going for the feature race, though, I'm going to push you for a top three. Who do you think is going to take the podium today?
I'm going to go for Josh Coutinho, and I think we're going to see Legend get up there as well. I can see Trident having a really good day today.
Yeah, absolutely. Legend doing a good time doing a good job in qualifying this time around, qualifying fourth. I think that's his best qualifying of the season. But here we go then for the start of the feature race. 5 lights ahead of the drivers. Who's going to get the best one off the line? The lights out and away they go. It looks like Coutinho's got a brilliant start off the line. Josh hasn't been able to keep up with him. It's a relatively short run into turn 1, so Coutinho flies off into the lead and Josh keeps second across through turn 1. Yarm having a look to the inside of turn 2 but isn't close enough to make a move stick. One of the Carlin mans has moved. That's Z3xer. Z3xer's moved up a spot. He's had a good start to this race. Someone's hit the wall in the background. That might have been Graham. I think Graham's gone too deep into turn 2 and has hit the wall. He has, so he's lost his front right end plate already in this race. Disastrous start to the race for Graham. Wesker just behind him on the medium tyres, but it's Coutinho that leads for ahead of Josh by about 0.4 of a second. Josh getting a little bit squirrely there out of turn 3, but just about gets away with it. Yarm running in 3rd place at the moment ahead of Z3xer in 4th. Scuba's up to 5th place. He's had a relatively decent start. Legend dropping to 6th. He's had a bit of a poor start from 4th on the grid. Then it's Graham, Wesker, Mays, Corboy, Frankie and Corboy actually I believe side by side. Biz is in just behind them as well. Matt Tibos seems to have dropped right to the back of the field. He's not had the best of starts either. But after the first sector of this track, as we come up into the castle section, it's been a relatively clean start.
Yeah, everyone seems to have made it round with the exception of the damage for both of the Premiers actually. Just looking at Corboy, he's also missing part of his end plate. As I say that, Matt Tibos and Pariah, not sure if they've come together, but the Campos has got big damage to his front wing again, just missing an end plate. That's not terrible during the slow sections, where that really does actually cost you a lot around here. Is pretty much coming out of the castle section, so through 13-14 until the end of the lap. Going through those fast S's towards the end of the lap, if you're missing part of the front wing, it's an absolute nightmare. You will be understeering like crazy, wearing these tyres out quicker, and quite possibly getting involved in a big accident.
Yeah, absolutely. But it did look like Pariah and Tibos have come together. The two new boys to the championship have come into contact. It also looks like Scuba has fallen foul of turn 15. He went too deep into turn 15, bounced over the curb and has hit the wall on the outside. He's already broken his front wing, so he's going to continue on to about lap 3 and probably come in early to replace that front wing damage. Yarm and Josh, I think, are side by side. Or actually, never mind. That's a timing glitch on my end. It's Josh just falling through the timing sheets. He is still currently running in 2nd place. But yeah, it's Coutinho that leads at the end of lap 1 ahead of Josh in 2nd place. Yarm's in 3rd, ahead Z3xer 4th, Scuba in 5th. Graham has worked his way up into 6th place at this point, so he's doing a pretty good job at the moment of keeping pace with the people in front. Actually, I believe it might be 7th. Yeah, it might be 7th actually. It would be 6th for Graham, 7th for Wesker, sorry. But yeah, Wesker the lead medium runner. Blizzard's already up to 8th place in this race. He's had a great start, but he's already fallen off the back of the guys in front. And actually, Blizzard himself has picked up front wing damage. So that is going to be massively costly, especially running those medium tyres at the start. He's going to drop so much time towards the end of his stint.
Yeah, he's definitely a driver. I think he was hoping for maybe now an early safety car. Just change that front wing. 2 stops, not ideal, especially given the lack of speed in an F2 pit stop. They are quite a bit slower, quite reduced crews working on the F2 car. So we'll just have to see what he can do. Now, Legend's managed to work his way back past ahead of Scuba. Because Scuba has that damage, I think as soon as these guys with the damaged front wings and the super soft tyres can come in, they will do. Because those mediums should get towards the end. They'll just be a bit compromised. But with the new point scoring system we've got this year, everyone's going to get a point. Let's not forget, being towards the bottom end of the top 8, quite useful just because of the sprint race and the reverse grid.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, at the front of the grid, Coutinho's checked out up front. It's nearly 2-second gap already. Josh is coming under a little bit of pressure from Yarum, so Josh starting to struggle with those super soft tyres. We are on lap 3, so the mandatory pit stop rule is now open. Anyone that pits from this point onwards in the race, it will count as their mandatory pit stop. Mays has already pitted in this race, so he pitted right at the start of lap 3, so he's just about got away with the mandatory pit stop rule. None of the top 3 are coming into the pit lane as of yet, and it does look like Josh's car is incredibly fast in a straight line because Yarum's directly behind him and can't close in at all.
Yeah, this is interesting from Josh because we saw this in the first race of the season as well at Bahrain. Did a fantastic job in qualifying and then for whatever reason just couldn't quite keep up with Coutinho in the race. So I'll be interested to see how it works out for him. Corboy's coming in to the pits and he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's actually one of the reserve drivers. Didn't do too badly last time around, but he might struggle to get big points in this first race. But I think Josh, his main focus now is just getting rid of Cowboy, getting that gap up to more than a second. Then maybe he can concentrate on working his way up through the field. As further down Siege, he gets into the top 10 on the super soft tyres, getting ahead of Frankie.
Yeah, he's up ahead of Frankie now, coming through to turn 4. He's up into the top 10, like you say. He's going to be chasing down the 2 medium runners of Wesker and Blizzard in front of him. Blizzard has worked his way past Wesker. I think they both might have, especially struggling with front wing damage. Actually, no, Wesker doesn't have front wing damage. Blizzard, despite the front wing damage, is still flying in this race. He's still got good pace on those medium tyres, so he could be right on the back of the guys in front if he hadn't got that front wing damage. But Blizzard now 3.5 seconds off the back of this real super soft tyre queue at the moment. Do you think really that he's just going to be settling for 8th place in this race? Do you think he can get any further than that?
I definitely think he can get further than that. We've seen how quickly he's managed to work his way up through the field. He's also going to be a very strong favourite to get the fastest lap, which he has done in 3 of the 4 races so far, as he goes very deep over the curb there at turn 16, just about manages avoiding damaging the other part of his front wing. This is the pace he's doing with a broken wing, let's not forget, and harder tyres than everyone else. He's going to be lightning at the end of this race.
Absolutely, especially if he places his front wing, he could be miles faster than the rest of the field. Meanwhile, Legend is on a bit of a charge at the moment. He's caught Z3 now for P4. This is a better showing for Z3. He really struggled in Bahrain, but he got off to a good start in Spain, and it looks like Z3 is building his confidence as the season goes on. But Legend down the inside towards turn 1. It's going to be a clean and easy move for the Trinit man in the end, working his way forwards after a bit of a poor start. Z3 tries to come back towards the inside of turn 2, but is not going to be close enough to make a move. Legend working his way forward nicely. It's working well for Trident at the moment, as Yarim and Scuba are the first super soft runners to come into the pits and put the medium tyres on. At the end of lap 3, start of lap 4, they've come in at the earliest possible point for them to put those medium tyres on. So let's see whether Yarim can undercut maybe Josh in front of him. Z3 thinks about coming back at Legend towards turn 3, but again, not close enough to make the move stick. Good recovery so far from Legend. Let's see whether he can do anything about the top 2 at this point.
Yeah, had a bad start, dropped behind Z-Freakser and Scuba, got ahead of Scuba, I think partly because the Shrew driver had some front wing damage, and we've just seen him use DRS to get past Z-Freakser. So these two, it's going to be tough for them, I think, to finish any higher than 3rd position. A lot could depend on how Yarham does with the undercut. Now that he's on those medium tyres, can he adjust from having all that large amount of grip at the start of this race to the grip levels he's got now? We'll have to wait and see. Scuba's pit stop quite a bit slower, obviously because he changed his front wing. So he should be fairly quick out on track now. Towards the end of the race, like 13, 14 and 15, they may find it a little bit harder. We've got Pariah. He's also coming to the pits, and it's actually his first race with the wheel and pedal. So it'll be interesting to see how he adapts.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to look out for, whether he's able to build his pace as the race goes on. He puts the medium tyres on, meets the mandatory pit stop rule. So he's currently at the back of the field, but obviously with the point system, like you said earlier on, he will still be scoring points at this point in the race. Looking at the front 2, though, Josh is starting to slightly close in on Coutinho. It looks like Coutinho's tyres might have reached the end of their tyre life. Is Coutinho going to stay out, or is he going to come in? They're keeping to the right-hand side of the track. So Josh has come in. Coutinho is staying out another lap. So it looks like he's starting to struggle with his super softs, but he doesn't want to put the mediums on yet. Maybe he doesn't think they can get to the end of the race, as Josh picks up a crucial 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, I'm surprised Coutinho didn't come in then, to be honest, because I thought if Josh hadn't have come in, there was a very big chance that he'd have actually ended up getting DRS down the next straight off of Coutinho. That would have helped him catch up, but that's a moot point in the end. Josh, with that 5-second penalty, we saw Coutinho, he won the first race of the season with a 5-second penalty, and Blizzard is indeed into the pits with that damage on his front wing, going for the super soft tyres. This is, of course, a 2-stop strategy that he's pretty much committed himself to. Might not finish that high up the field, so fastest lap and sprint race pole position, possibly the best he could hope for now.
Yeah, it looks like he broke his front wing again on the other side, so maybe he fell foul of turn 15, possibly. It might be the case. We've seen him already nearly come into contact with that wall once in this race, so he's already compromised his race. It's been a bit of a disaster this time around. It looks like Blizzard's podium run's going to come to an end at 4 podium runs in a row. He's not going to finish on the podium today unless something crazy happens at the end of this race, but he's down in 12th place, 6.8 seconds behind Scuba, and is going to have to pit again. He can't take the super soft to the end. Another thing to look out for, though, Legend might be a little bit compromised here. He's stayed out along with his teammate. They're both going to be coming into the pits relatively soon. The Legend might have to stay out another lap longer than he would have wanted. Meanwhile, Siege has managed to work his way into the top 5, and he's closing down on Graham. Graham obviously still going on the super softs with front wing damage. Graham, considering the front wing damage he's got, doing well to keep up with Z3 and Legend in front, but Siege is going to be coming at him so quickly now.
Yeah, most definitely. But like before, I was on board with Z-Freakster, and through a few of these slower corners through some of these traction zones. He was struggling a bit on the tyres, so I just wonder whether he's cooked them a bit earlier on, and that is helping Graham stay in touch. I'd be surprised if we don't see Graham coming in this lap, but that's a very good point you made about Coutinho and Legend. Coutinho very late getting into the pits, and he's missed the pits. He left it too late.
He left it way too late. He's missed the pit lane. Legend, thinking that Coutinho is going to come in, also stayed out. So again, Trident compromise. Coutinho, massive error there. I'm amazed he didn't come away with that one without any front wing damage. He's managed to get away with it, but disaster for Coutinho, who completely misses the pit lane. Surely that's going to give Josh the lead now, but obviously Josh with a 5-second time penalty. Meanwhile, Josh has actually gapped Yaham massively at this point. He's 4.1 seconds clear. Yaham must have made a mistake somewhere as Graham is coming into the pit lane now, as is Z3xer, but Coutinho could have just thrown away the win here.
Yeah, definitely. I was thinking he was... I was just about to say he's staying out. He went for it very late and just drifted on those super soft tyres. Maybe a lap earlier he'd have had enough grip to make it that late, but who knows. Lost around a second and a half, 2 seconds to his teammate. Thankfully for him, didn't get any damage, but he's just going to be losing time hand over fist at the moment. And Legend as well in the pits. He's going to have to wait a long time. This game isn't the best for the double stack in F1, where you can do it with about 3-second gap. No chance have you got a pit in F2 cars in that space, as we see Pariah has gone off at the castle section.
Oh, that's brought out... That's brought out a virtual safety car, I believe it has. Yeah, virtual safety car. So, if they're able to get round into pits in time, this is perfect for Trident, because they can limit the damage, really, of this pit stop. But at the moment, Trident's so compromised by this mistake from Coutinho. Especially Legend. Legend must be thinking that he's in such a tough spot at this moment. Oh, Coutinho! He's hit the wall on the inside of turn 15. Coutinho has managed to hit the wall on the inside of the corner. I don't know how on earth that has happened. Has he got a puncture? I think Coutinho...
he's got a puncture.
Yeah.
Right puncture.
He has. He's left it too late. They left it too late to come into the pit lane. Coutinho, missing the pit lane, he's managed to give himself a puncture and front wing damage. Legend is now the lead Trident car. He passes Coutinho under the virtual safety car with obviously that front wing damage. That's a disaster for Coutinho, who had almost this race almost sewn up at that point. Always going to add a massive moment. Well held from Coutinho through there. But he's thrown away a race win here with a bizarre strategy, staying out so late on the super softs. It just hasn't worked. And I think, has Legend come into the pits? Yeah, Legend has come in. So Coutinho is going to have to wait behind Legend as well. So massive disaster. And that means that Josh is now net race leader. He's over 5 seconds clear of Yaram. So Josh has been given the race win at this point in the race.
Yeah, never mind blowing the win. Coutinho's blown a podium here. Absolutely. Siege has managed to get ahead of him as well. And I don't think it's going to matter. Legend's well out the pits before Coutinho's pretty much ends in the pit lane. Absolute disaster for the Trident team. He's going to drop a long way down the order. Matt Tibos is coming in. That'll be to serve his... Will it be to serve his drive-through penalty, or is this going to be a pit stop? No, he's actually doing him a pit stop because he's got front wing damage. So, and Blizzard coming in again as well. A lot of drivers choosing to get rid of those tyres on that lap, but as you said, Josh, he's more than 5 seconds clear now. He just needs to be careful. His main rival on pace in this race was definitely Coutinho, and he's now a long way down the order. He's only got 1 lap older tyres than Yaham. He's got a 1 second buffer at the moment. Just nice and gentle from Josh. Should be enough to get him his first win of the season.
Absolutely. He's looking dead set for the MP Motorsport man. Meanwhile, Coutinho has come out. Somehow, he's only 1 place ahead of Blizzard now. So, Blizzard's pitted for the 2nd time and has put on another set of super soft tyres. Because obviously he doesn't want to run the medium tyres now, because then he won't have any sets of medium tyres left for the sprint race. But Blizzard again having to pit. He should have gone maybe a little bit longer on the first set of super softs, because we've already seen that it took Coutinho 6 laps to get a puncture, and there's still 8.5 laps in this race. So Blizzard's going to be right within puncture territory towards the end, as is Matt Tibos behind. But Coutinho went from leading this race, and he's now currently running in what would be about a net P10. So a disaster for Coutinho, who could have caught Blizzard massively in the championship after this race. He's going to be fighting with Blizzard at the end, really, for reverse grid pole at this point.
Yeah, most definitely. And look who's up in 7th position again. He always seems to be in and around this lower end of the top 8, which gets him a good sprint race position. And that is Graham. Despite having that front wing damage early on, he's got Scuba and Siege behind him, who I think it's fair to say probably on pure 1 lap pace are better than Graham. And actually, just looking, I'm not sure if Graham's actually got some more front wing damage.
I think he's got some damage on the right front. I think he chose not to change his front wing in the pit stop. But obviously, changing your front wing in the pit stop can cost you about 8 or 9 seconds in Formula 2. Graham's decided against doing that, so he's kept the damage that he picked up, I think, from the first stint in this race, and he's stayed ahead of Scuba. Obviously, he changed his front wing. But yeah, it's like you say, Scuba and Siege are going to be coming at Graham at this point, but Graham's still on for a good result despite the damage, because behind that, he doesn't really have any challenger that's close enough to really take any places away from him. But looking further up as well, Legend is absolutely flying at the moment. Yaham's really struggling on these medium tyres. He's 8.3 seconds behind Josh. Josh has absolutely disappeared on this set of tyres. Legend is on much fresher medium tyres than Yaram in front. They're about 2 laps fresher. So Legend is looking to get past, and you can see Yaram is just sliding so much mid-corner. Legend looking to try and get him moved on as early as possible, trying to get up into second place, salvaging some sort of points for Trident in this race. It's been a good comeback so far from Legend to get back into a net podium position. He's absolutely left Z3xer behind as well. He's 5 seconds back to Z3xer. Let's see whether Legend can get a move done. It's probably going to be a move down into Turn 1 because there's not really any overtaking spots from this point onwards. But yeah, Yaram, actually with front wing damage as well, Yaram really struggling on these set of tyres.
Yeah, I was just about to point out, he has damaged his front wing somewhere, so that's really going to cost him as well. So possibly dropping behind Legend. We could even see Z3xer catch up to him towards the end of this race. Z3xer's front wing looking nice and clear, and he's a driver who's yet to have a podium, yet to actually finish any higher than 9th in a feature race. So putting in much better performance this time from the Carlin driver, but as we've seen, quite a few of the drivers have managed to hit the wall so far in this race. It could easily go wrong for him. Blizzard has been into the pits for a 3rd time and has now put the medium tyres on. I'm not sure I get that, to be honest. I think he should have just gone longer on his first set of super softs and then pitted round about lap 9 or 10 for the second set of super softs to just try to get the fastest lap. Possibly wouldn't get him a top 8, but would be higher up than he is now.
Yeah, and obviously now I believe Josh and Frankie are side by side going through turn 1. It looks like Josh is trying to get the move done on the medium runner man. He's down the inside. Frankie keeping it around the outside, but he's not going to have the momentum or the space really to make that move stick at turn 2. So Josh up into second place. Obviously Frankie and Wesker are the only people now that started on the mediums that have been able to keep that strategy alive. So I'll have to see where Wesker and Frankie come out. Better showing this time around from Frankie as well. Frankie really struggled in the opening 2 rounds, especially with a lot of rear end grip. He tended to spin quite a lot coming out of corners. He seems to be a lot more confident around Baku, which is great to see. He's showing much better pace this time round. And Wesker at the moment keeping his gearbox in check. So that's something obviously he had a bit of a problem with at the start of the season. He looks to be doing a better job this time round, but Josh is swarming all over the back of him on fresh tyres. Legend wasn't able to make the move stick on Yarim, so he hasn't been able to get past. Scuba, actually, as I say that, he's down the inside. Is he going to get the move done for turn 7? Got a great run coming out of the 5-6 chicane. Legend down the inside, but he backs out of the move at the last moment, knowing it's the castle section. Yarim keeps P4 on the road for the time being, but the more time that this happens for Legend, the more that Josh is going to get away out front. And at this point, Legend's best bet is a second place. Josh is completely gone out front now.
Yeah, I feel that was really an opportunity for Legend just to be a bit more aggressive, a bit later on the brakes, cut off the undercut really, because it's such tight corner into turn 7, and he really should have got that move done, I feel. Do agree with what you said on front.
Oh, Yaram!
He's been much better.
Oh, Yaram spun the car coming out of turn 15. Gone on the power too early. He's spun the car and has hit the wall. Nino's joined the session meanwhile, so he'll be in the race for the sprint race. But yeah, Yaram dropping the car on the exit of turn 15 and hitting the wall. Pariah's also crashed at some point, unless he's retired in the pit lane. I don't know what kind of safety car that's brought out. It's a full safety car. Wow, so
this
full safety car.
Brilliantly for Wesker and Frankie.
Yeah, Wesker and Frankie coming into the pit lane. Let's see where they come out. Obviously, the safety cars come out before Josh has passed it, so they're going to be running around at safety car speed now. They're going to be running behind the deltas. So let's see where Wesker and Frankie come out relative to the guys around them. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be very, very close, but I think Wesker's going to be around, as actually Graham and Scuba have dived into the pit lane. So Graham's coming in, maybe to change the front wing and put a set of super softs on. Scuba's done the same. Siege has stayed out. So Siege, from the back row of the grid, Siege is now running in 4th. What a good comeback this has been from him. But Wesker's going to come out onto the track in 5th place.
Yeah, we could have to watch for Wesker and Frankie and Graham and Scuba, to be fair, towards the end of this race. This could get very interesting. Indeed, Coginio Mays in as well. Corboy and Matt T-Boss have just pitted, so there'll be no point for them going. Blizzard, he's had so many pit stops, I don't think he's got any fresh tyres left whatsoever. But yeah, I think just in the end, Yaram just made a slight mistake coming out of that corner. It's so easily done at turn 16 to get it wrong. If you hit the curb too hard, you get thrown off towards the wall. A bit too heavy on traction, you get thrown sideways. Obviously tried to save it, ended up in the barrier. Not sure what happened to Pariah, but we're down to just 13 runners all of a sudden, and with Josh's 5-second penalty, that bunches everyone up and just makes it a bit more tough for the MP man. He's got to build that gap up once again.
Yeah, he's like you say, he's got to build the gap up again. His was running at around a near 9-second lead to Legend. Legend now in the pound seat, right behind Josh on the track. So Josh has got to see whether he can build that pace back up again and develop a 5-second lead out front. Z3 is running on the podium at the moment. This has been a much better showing from Z3. He showed flashes of brilliance in Spain, but it just didn't quite work out for him. A little errors here and there in the feature and the sprint race, and he wasn't able to get the best results. But this is a much better showing from the Carlin man, and it's much needed because Blizzard's come into this pits for the 4th time in this race, and he's running stone dead last at the moment. This has been a disastrous race for Blizzard. But at this point, Blizzard, I think, has completely run out of tyres for the feature and the sprint race at this point.
Yeah, that's interesting. It says it's only his 3rd stop. I thought he'd made at least one more than that, if I'm being honest. But, who knows? It's on the super soft tyres. The game says they're fresh. Whether that means they're fresh, it could be 10 laps old for all we know at the moment. But to be fair, the timing tower does seem a bit more accurate with the tyres now than it was before the update. So well done, Codemasters, for fixing that part of it. This is going to be interesting. It wouldn't surprise me if Blizzard does sneak a bit higher up the grid. I'd expect him on pure pace to be able to get past a lot of those guys ahead of him. And Coutinho as well. He's someone who could benefit. As Corboy, I think Corboy has spun under the safety car. Thankfully for him, Mays wasn't close enough to take advantage, so he'll be able to stay in the 10th position. Didn't damage his car. Safety car will be out for at least the rest of this lap, so we could only have 4 racing laps for Josh to maybe get ahead by 5 seconds. We know he's quick enough on fresh tyres. He's a slightly older than Legends. Tyre wear won't be an issue for these guys now. This is going to be very close, I feel, still towards the end of this race.
Absolutely, we've got to keep an eye out for those super soft runners at the moment. Wesker, Frankie, Graham, Scuba and Coutinho, 5th down to 9th. They're going to be looking to make up some places on those tyres. Especially look out for Scuba and Coutinho, who have been struggling at the moment in this race. They want to make up for the mistakes they've made earlier on. Graham, meanwhile, he came into the pits for obviously the 2nd time. He still hasn't replaced that front wing. So he's decided to keep the front wing damage, and he's kept 7th place ahead of Scuba for the time being. But surely pitting and changing the front wing would have been a smarter move for Graham, because he would have at least had more pace and maybe fought even harder for the reverse grid pole. At this point, it looks like he's going to fall behind Scuba and Coutinho when the race gets going again.
Yeah, he'd have only lost 1 place by a front wing change, just looking at the gaps at the moment, which now that they've caught up to the safety car pretty much would have been a bit bigger. So only lost 1 place, and he's going to lose. I'd expect Scuba to be able to get past him. Coutinho as well, maybe even, depending how far Blizzard gets up past the rest of these guys in front of him, because he's really not enjoyed this race so far. He might be able to get ahead of him. So this was a real opportunity for Blizzard, with Blizzard being a long way down the order. Coutinho's mistake, I sort of understand maybe why first time he didn't change his front wing, because he wasn't doing too bad, but the safety car was a big opportunity to get that done. Now we're going to have to see who is going to come out on top. The safety car appears to be staying out again, so the longer it stays out, the tougher it gets to Josh, and it's because T-Boss and Blizzard are still a long way behind. In fact, you can see Blizzard at the moment, he's only just coming up towards the castle section.
Yeah. So the safety car going to be staying out for another lap. So it looks like we're only going to get 3 racing laps when we get going again. We should have Matt Tibbles and Blizzard catching the safety car by then. But yeah, just goes to show how awful this race has been for Blizzard. Blizzard has been the class of the field really all season, picking up 3 podiums so far this season. He's at 4 podiums in a row this season, with a third, a second and a first, I believe, this season. It's been a real dominant display. Have we got contact at the front of the field?
Yeah, Josh, warming his tyres up under the safety car, spun towards the wall and damaged his front wing.
Wow. So Josh, another person in the lead of the race that's made a mistake that's cost them massively. Josh with front wing damage and a 5-second penalty. That's an absolute disaster for Josh. He had this race completely set and done after Coutinho's mistake, but now another person leading the race has made a mistake, and it's behind the safety car.
It's very easily done. On those older medium tyres, they will not want to warm up whatsoever, especially at the slow pace that the safety car is doing. So he's really going to struggle now, I think, to keep Legend, Z-Freaks, Siege, and all those super soft runners behind him. His chances of winning, I'd say, are vanishingly small. I thought it would have been hard to make a 5-second advantage with 3 laps once he had all of his front wing. Now that he's missing the left end plate, will, as I said, cost him more towards the end of the lap. He's really going to struggle indeed. And Legend, he might be looking good to take a win all of a sudden after struggling a lot in the pre-season race and in the first race of the season. He managed 2 4th places over last meeting in Spain. Could easily take his first win of the season. We thought a tried-up driver might end up winning today. don't think I expected it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that one. I just did not imagine it to be Legend to be the first one to win the race. I think that would have been as actually Lucas unfortunately left the session. Fingers crossed I can get him back into the lobby. But yeah, I'm surprised that it's Legend that's going to be the lead Trident runner when we get going. It looks like we're going to get the safety car in this lap. We are. So the safety car is coming in. So here we go then. We've got Josh at the front of the field. He's going to be ahead of Legend and Z3X at the restart. It looks like it's a race between Legend and Z3X at the moment for the net race win. Josh with front wing damage and a time penalty is going to plummet through the field at the safety car restart. We've got Blizzard joining the back of the queue. He still hasn't quite caught the safety car queue yet. He's a little bit off the bat, but he's going to have a lot of momentum down the straight as everyone gets up to speed. So let's see whether Blizzard can capitalise on that and maybe make some places. Look how messy it is behind the safety car as we get going again. It's going to be such a slow restart for Josh. He's waiting until the very last moment, but he's going to go now. He's gone, and let's see how people can do with the safety car restart. Looks like Blizzard caught it just in time, and we get going again. Josh has a good, decent lead ahead of Legend coming down into turn one. Z3X are running in third. Siege trying to make a move on Z3X for a podium from the back row of the grid. Wesker on the super softs, looking confident as well. Has a look to the outside of turn one. He's going to go all the way around the outside. That'd be an amazing move if he can pull it off. And you know what? He has. He's pulled it off easily. Siege is down the inside for turn two. Siege really late on the brakes. Wesker gives him just enough room, but Wesker round the outside of turn one and two, an amazing move. He's up into fourth place. Look out for Wesker to steal a podium here. Josh still leads. Z3X is on the back of Legend for second place. The net race lead at the moment. Josh doing an alright job of holding on to the lead at the moment, but Legend still close enough in behind as we've got 2.5 laps to go. Looking further down the field, Blizzard's already passed Tibos and Maze is up into 11th. We've got Kuginio up the inside of Frankie for 6th place. Kuginio has made 3 places on the safety car restart. He's passed Graham and Frankie is up into 6th place. He's also passed Scuba. Scuba's off the road. He looks like he's had a spin at turn 3. So again, another mistake from Scuba. And he's dropped to the back of the field. Kuginio up into 6th place, doing a great job. Blizzard's up into 9th all of a sudden. Blizzard almost on reverse grid pole from the back of the safety car queue. He's gained 5 places in half a lap. What a restart this has been from him. He's right up behind Graham for P8, and Graham running with front wing damage is going to drop him outside of the reverse grid pole contention at the moment. Blizzard looking so much faster. Does he get a run down towards turn 15? He's up the inside. Graham slightly defends the line. Blizzard can't get the inside for the kink. Graham's going to have to back off as well with that damage. Blizzard having a look to the inside. Is he towards turn 15? Be a buzz him if he can pull it off. He's not going to go for it. Graham keeps the pace, but imagine we'll see Blizzard pass down after turn 16 towards first corner. A big slide there from Blizzard as well, coming out of turn 15. But we come to start lap 14 of this race. Josh still leads, only by 0.8 of a second though. Legend still in the pound seat to win this one. Z3X has been a little bit dropped. Coreboy's retired. He's hit the wall on the exit of turn 16. Z3X are running around in third. Wesker starting to come at him now. Here comes Blizzard once again for a move on Graham towards turn 1. He's going to look to the outside towards turn 1. Has he got the momentum to pull it off? There's no DRS for the rest of this race, I don't believe. It might be for lap 15. Let's wait and see if Blizzard's far enough ahead. Graham's got good straight line speed in that car. He's holding the inside line towards turn 1. Blizzard having a look around the outside. Someone's gone very deep. He's just gone deep into turn 1. He's lost a couple places. He's down to 7th. Blizzard breezes around the outside of Graham. He's up into 8th place after the safety car restart. Welcome back, Luke. I think Luke is back in the comm spots, thank God. But what a safety car restart from Blizzard. He's gained 6 places and he's up into 8th. As Wesker, meanwhile, is down the inside of turn 3. Down the inside of Z3X. Is he going to get the move stuck? He's made it stick. Z3X couldn't get to the outside of the corner. He didn't have the momentum or the grip to do it. Wesker's up into 3rd. Wesker has a shot at the race win here.
Yeah, most definitely. And just looking at the gaps at the moment, Josh could drop behind Blizzard at the moment. With how fast Blizzard's going, you'd expect that to happen. Josh really struggling. I'm surprised Legend isn't more over the back of him. Now Wesker's just got to be a bit patient here, and I think that might be what Legend is doing, just waiting it out, hoping that no one else will be able to get past him. Might want to get a bit more of a move on now that Wesker's behind him on the super soft tyres. Needs really to get within a second before we get to the end of this lap to make sure he gets DRS with the one remaining DRS zone, which will be on the straight coming out of turn 2 on the final lap of the race. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like Legend will be able to close up that gap. Wesker not catching up as much as I'd have expected as well, and Kuginio looking very fast behind Z3X as well. Blizzard, and this could be anyone's result at the moment. I don't dare call it what order this race is going to finish in. Surprising to see like Scuba dropping a long way down the order as well. He'd have been hoping for a better result after working his way up, but he seems to have struggled a bit in this race. Yeah, Josh, just over 1 lap to go, still leading. Penalties at the moment, Will dropping down to 8th position. 3 seconds in one lap is a big, big gap for Wesker to catch up. I don't think he's going to do it. I think Legend's probably feeling pretty safe at the moment.
Oh, he hasn't.
Legend hasn't used the super softs.
Oh my word. Legend's retired from the session. He's been disqualified from the session for not using the correct tyres. I was sure that Legend started this race on a set of super softs. I was sure that he started on a set, but he's been disqualified from the session, and he's not going to win this race now. It's Wesker that leads. Coutinho's worked his way up into third. Where has he come from in the safety car restart? He's on the back of the Wesker for the race lead now. Josh is 3.5 seconds clear of Wesker, but Legend, as Wesker's retired...
Oh, Wesker's out.
Wesker's had a gearbox failure, I think. Another gearbox failure for Wesker. Coutinho's back in the pound seat to win this race. What is happening? Coutinho's in second. Frankie could take second here. Blizzard's nearly on the podium.
This is just crazy. I've rewound the stream. Legend started on the super soft tyres. He's going to be absolutely furious at this moment in time. Like, if I was him, I'd be sending a message to Codemasters now.
Absolutely.
This race, and just saying, you guys watch this, because this is just unacceptable that he has lost this race. Wesker gearbox issues again costing him. I was on board with him a few times. He seems to be short shifting, seems to be doing everything right, so I'm just not sure what is costing him. Josh is quite a long way clear. Might still sneak onto the podium here, but looks like Coutinho, as long as he doesn't crash, he's going to end up taking the victory after penalties.
Absolutely, Blizzard all over. As he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. As you say that, he picks up a 3-second time penalty. Josh has crashed. Josh has crashed on the exit of turn 15 and almost completely lost his front wing. Blizzard nearly crashed into Frankie. Frankie's going to win this race. Coutinho's got 3 seconds of penalties. He's only 2.5 seconds clear. Frankie, if he can hold Blizzard off down the pit straight, Frankie could end up winning this one. We come round the final corner. Coutinho's going to come up to line and cross the race line in the lead of this race. I don't know how he's worked his way to the front, but it looks like Frankie, is he just going to hold on to Blizzard? Blizzard's closing him down. Frankie's going to have to move to the inside to defend. He's got so much straight line speed. This is going to be so close to the line. Who's going to get it? They cross the line side by side. Frankie's going to win the race by 16 thousandths of a second. What an end to this race.
I'm glad I got back in time for that one. Josh ended up retiring from the session, actually. It says there. So it looked as though he was going to get a podium. Didn't end up. Frankie, a man who after Bahrain, he was talking about quitting this league. He was really not enjoying these cars. Got his first points last time out in the sprint race, and he's ended up winning the feature race here in Azerbaijan. Tremendous bad luck for Wesker with his engine gearbox failure towards the end. But if I was Legend, he's going to be stewing. Now we're going to have to see what sort of mental strength he's got to try and come back for that. He's going to be absolutely furious with that performance. And we're seeing here hallmarks of Toxic and Blizzard's finish from last season. Reminded me of Stroll and Bottas in 2017 towards the end. This time, though, the car ahead just hung on, and Frankie gets his first win of the season.
Well, if we saw the results at the end of this race after qualifying, I would not have believed that Frankie would have won this race. Frankie struggled so much in the first 2 rounds to keep the car on the road. He's ended up winning the feature race at Baku. It just goes to show that Baku is always a crazy race. What a race that was. Frankie wins the race then ahead of Blizzard. Worked his way to second with 3 pit stops. How on earth he's pulled that off, I do not know. Coutinho has ended up in third and still behind Blizzard despite the race that Blizzard had. Siege worked his way back to fourth ahead of Z3 in fifth. Matt Tibos in sixth on his debut. Good result from him. Graham in seventh. Mays is going to take reverse grid pole for the sprint race. Scuba in ninth. Josh down to 10th in the end, and Wesker 11th. So it's Corboy, Yaron, Pariah and Legend all retired or disqualified from the race. And it looks like, I'm just looking in the chat, I think Legend might have cut, he came into the pit lane right as the virtual safety car ended. And obviously in Formula 2, you can't make your mandatory pit stop when the virtual safety car is out.
Yeah, it looks like that's... It's harsh, but if the rules are the rules. We know Formula 1 experimented with a few of those safety car rules as well, so big gutting news for him. That probably does make more sense than it being a mistake from the game. Wesker, he'll be gutted with his gearbox failure. Josh blowing it at the last minute with a mistake. Coutinho as well. He cut turn 16. If he hadn't have done that,
Absolutely. I think we might have lost Luke Effage there. Unfortunately, we have to wait and see whether he comes back. But yeah, like he was saying, it's amazing that we've had so many people make mistakes whilst in the lead of the race and losing places because of penalties. Oh, sorry, you're back there. We just lost you there for a second, Luke, but it looks like you're back. Fingers crossed. I think he's got a little bit quiet again. So we'll wait and see whether we get him back into the session. I think he might have had a problem with his internet again, unfortunately, but it is Maze who takes pole position for the sprint race. Graham somehow has worked his way back up onto the front row for the sprint race, so good comeback from Graham despite the front wing damage in the feature race. But yeah, after the end of that, so many people made mistakes whilst in the lead of the race. We had Coutinho make a mistake twice that cost him a race win. Josh cost him a race win. That was 2 mistakes whilst in the lead. Wesker had an engine failure. It looks like Legend was caught out by the rules of the mandatory pit stop. That's why he's not been able to finish the race in the end. So yeah, it's Maze that leads the way for the sprint race. Ahead of Graham, Matt Tibos in third on the grid. Let's see what he can do. It looks like he adjusted himself well. He didn't quite have the pace at the start of the race, but he definitely had better pace towards the end. And Matt Tibos running now third. Z3X is going to be fourth after a relatively good result. He'll be disappointed, though, that he only came home with 5th place. He was running in the podium places towards the end, only came home with 5th and was still beaten by Blizzard despite Blizzard's strategy. And Blizzard's kept his podium run going once again. But yeah, it's Siege in 5th, ahead of Coutinho 6th, Blizzard 7th, Frankie is in 8th after his win in the feature race. But yeah, that is absolutely amazing. Scuba's in 9th and Josh running in 10th, Wesker 11th, Cowboy, Yar and Prior, Legend and Nino has obviously joined the lobby for the sprint race. So let's see what he can do in his only race today. Just having a look in the comments on the stream as well, it looks like Luke Etheridge has said that Virgin Media are struggling to believe what's happened as well. Absolutely, it does seem like Virgin Media saw what happened in that feature race and have completely shut themselves down. They were absolutely shocked by what's happened. So yeah, fortunately Luke Etheridge is struggling a little bit with internet connection, so hopefully we get him back for the sprint race. But yeah, so it's going to be Maze leading the way for the sprint race. We'll have to wait and see what he can pull off. Let us know in the comments, who do you think is going to get a top 3 in the sprint race? It'd be hard to bet against Graham maybe getting a podium here, just showing based on his consistency. Even with the damage he got in the feature race, he was still consistent enough to get a good result in the race. But also look out for Coutinho and Blizzard to come through the pack as well. Maybe don't see the same result from Frankie, unfortunately. He may have won the feature race, but it's fair to say that a lot of people in front of him kind of got out of his way in the end, but Frankie did well to hold on just across the line by 16 thousandths of a second. And apparently, according to James Head as well, that is exactly the same gap that we had between Toxic and Blizzard this time last season. So that's incredible that it's happened twice in a feature race in 2 seasons. Hopefully we get it for a 3rd time when we get back to Baku for next season as well. Baku always a crazy race. But here we go then, as everyone starts to line up for the start of the sprint race. Let's wait and see who's going to get the best line into turn 1, who's going to get the best start. Looks like Wesker and Callboy came into contact on the formation lap, so they've already been disqualified from the formation lap. Their tyres are going to be relatively cold compared to everyone else. It's going to be Maze lining up on pole position though, ahead of the Prema driver of Graham. Matt Tibos on debuts running in 3rd. This is the highest he's been so far. Let's see whether he can challenge for a podium towards the end of this race. Got 11 laps ahead of us for the sprint race. Everyone should be on the medium tyres. Let's wait and see what everyone is on. Yeah, they are. They're all on the medium tyres. But here we go then for the start of the sprint race. Maze in the familiar position of sprint race, reverse grid pole. Here we go again. Let's see whether he can get the best start. Lights out and away they go, and it looks like Maze and Graham have got fairly equal starts off the line. Graham has a better second phase, but it looks like Maze is just going to lead into turn 1. Z3X has had a brilliant start. He's already up to 3rd. He's had an amazing start. He's looking around the outside of Graham. One of the other Prema cars is off the road in the background. That's Cowboy. He's had a poor start. Here comes Z3X around the outside of Graham. Maybe he's but they get away with it. Coutinho has had an amazing start. He's up to 4th. He's going down the inside of Z3X for 3rd place. He's already battling back to the podium, trying to make up for the mistakes he made in the feature race. Blizzard on the back of Matt Tibos, who's had a really poor start. He's dropped to 6th place. Blizzard having a look round the outside. There might have been a little bit of contact there, but they get away with it. And it looks like Blizzard's just going to hold P6. Coming down into turn 4, Tibos holds the outside line. Frankie's gone straight on at turn 4 and has hit the wall, unfortunately. The first person to pick up damage in the sprint race is our feature race winner. He's already picked up damage. Blizzard gets ahead of Tibos just in time for turn 6. So Blizzard up into 6th place, Tibos down to 7th. Scuba's worked his way up into 8th. Nino from last on the grid is in 9th. He's had an amazing start. Amazing stuff from the Univirtuoso man to get up to 9th place. But yeah, Maze at leads ahead of Graham. Coutinho with an amazing start up into 3rd place. And I think we have Luke Etheridge back in the comms box for the 2nd time in this race.
Yeah, 3rd time lucky, hopefully. Yeah, Nino always seems to have been a driver that's had good pace. It'll be interesting to see how he does.
Oh, sorry, it's cut in. Sorry, it's cut in. Coutinho down the inside for turn 15. He's having a look at Graham. Is he going to get the move stuck? No, he backs out before the corner. He had the inside line for the kink, but he backs out before turn 15. He's not going to get the move stuck. So he thinks a look to capitalise, but it's not going to pay off for them. Coutinho stays in 3rd for the time being.
Yeah, Coutinho staying in 3rd then, come very close there. Maze doing well leading this race as we head towards the end of lap 1. I was just saying, Nino always seems to have had good pace, but for some reason the results don't seem to have gone his way so far. Be interested to see how he does in this race. And Blizzard, he always seems to be nice and careful on these opening laps of sprint races, working his way up through the field nice and carefully. Be interested to see how he does as the race goes on.
Absolutely, to see what he can do. Mays then at the end of the first lap, he leads the way by about 0.6 of a second, ahead of Graham in second. It's Coutinho in third. We've got a little bit of a timing glitch on our end as well, but Coutinho runs in third ahead of Z3 fourth. I think Blizzard works his way up into fifth, maybe. I think he's actually, no, he's just behind Siege. Siege is in fifth, Blizzard is in sixth. Matt Tibos is side by side with, I believe, Scuba's gone up into seventh place ahead of Matt Tibos now. So Matt Tibos now under pressure from Nino coming down towards turn 3. Nino's going to have a look around the outside. Is he close enough? Let's wait and see. He's late on the brakes. Matt Tibos equally late on the brakes though. They go through the corner, a little bit of wheel banging. Now he's going to have the inside line for turn 4 is Nino. Does he stick it down the inside? He does. A very tight line through the corner though. Matt's going to have the momentum around the outside. Matt just about holds on to 8th place for the time being. But yeah, Matt, after starting third on the grid, already down into 8th place. He's really struggling at the moment to keep up with everyone in front.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame for him. Maybe not as used to driving these F2 cars. Joined the league very late really, only about an hour before the feature race started, so might not have had a lot of time to practice as much as he'd have wanted it. It might be good to see sort of another new winner, maybe, we could end up getting in this race. But I expect Coutinho, he's a very quick driver, to possibly work his way past Graham and Mays and get the win that he probably feels like he deserved in the feature race. But to be honest, probably only has himself to blame.
Absolutely, yeah, we made a couple of mistakes in that race that threw the race win. May's really starting to struggle for pace now. We've got about a 7-car queue. I think there might have been a little bit of contact there. Siege kind of forced out the way by Blizzard. So Blizzard works his way into P5 after turn 15. Looks like there was a little bit of contact there from Blizzard, and that's how he's managed to get up to P5. Meanwhile, further down the field, Wesker and Legend have worked their way up into 11th and 12th. Josh has made a mistake somewhere. He's down to 15th. He's really struggling so far today. He is down in 15th and behind Frunky, who has front wing damage. Pariah's had a spin on the exit at turn 15 as well. Horribly wrong this race has been for MP Motorsport, running in 15th and 16th. But here comes Graham down the inside of turn 1. He's got the inside line. Blizzard Scuba now sets the fastest lap of the race. Graham's down the inside of Mays. Mays fighting it on the outside. Mays has the momentum around the outside of the corner. He's going to keep the lead. Here comes Coutinho trying to capitalise on these two battling. Again, Graham down the inside for turn 2. A little bit of contact there. Graham gets a little bit sideways on the curb. Coutinho is able to get around the outside of Graham because of it, as is Z3. So Z3 up into 3rd place. Here comes Blizzard now on the back of Graham. Is he going to try and make a move stick as well? Coutinho having a look to the inside of Mays for turn 3, but not close enough to make the move stick. Further in behind Graham, a little bit of contact with the back of C3's car. Blizzard trying to have a look as well, as is Siege. Scuba and Nino have caught these guys as well. A real queue of cars now forming behind Mays, who's really struggling for pace. Z3 are trying to go around the outside of Coutinho at turn 4. That'd be an amazing move if he can pull it off, but Coutinho really late on the brakes for turn 5, brakes and locks up a little bit, but it's going to hold his line through turn 6. Coutinho just holds in 2nd place, but Mays really struggling for pace, holding everyone up all the way down to, well, at the moment, the queue goes all the way down to 13th place.
Yeah, we've just seen we've got a time penalty as well for the MP car. Pariah, he's just retired from the race. I'm surprised, Graham, when he got alongside.
Oh, sorry to jump in. Nino's hit the wall. Nino's, I think, turned in too early for turn 8 and has hit the inside wall and is spun in the castle section. He's absolutely demolished that front wing. He's going to have to come in and pit. He's missing pretty much all of his front wing. Nino, a good start to the sprint race. Again, another poor result for him. He's now running in last place with no front wing, as Josh is down the inside of Callboy, I think, or no, he's actually backed out of that. I think Josh actually might have been desynced from the lobby, unfortunately. But yeah, Nino, another costly mistake, running in P8. He's now down into last place with a big crash in the castle section.
Yeah, I think Josh might have actually ended up leaving the lobby after the feature race. I'm not sure how long he could have been in the lobby, whether he's been having some internet issues, we don't know. Big shame for Nino as well. I was expecting some good things from him tonight, and it just needs to start coming together from him. But Mays somehow just about holding on. But as I say, that Coutinho straight down the inside, well ahead before we get to the braking zone. That Trident's just going to want to sprint clear now. But Z-Freakser, Graham, Blizzard, Siege, Scuba, all right behind these guys. There could end up being a big incident if something doesn't give way at the end, as Callboy's now out. And I believe that is
safety car.
Safety car.
Full safety car, and Blizzard picks up a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Graham. So Blizzard's obviously hit the back of Graham as the safety car has come out. That's another 5 seconds added to Blizzard's race. If anything has gone wrong, it could go wrong. It has gone wrong really for Blizzard today, but somehow we still managed to keep that podium. I said it midway through the feature race, it would be amazing if Blizzard could keep that podium streak going, and somehow he has. But at this point in the race, with that 5-second penalty, it looks like it might now end in the sprint race. But yeah, Blizzard picking up a time penalty. I think Callboy might have come into contact with some. I'm not sure who he came into contact with, but I think he tried to dive into the pit lane at one point and just got caught out and maybe came into contact with someone. He's retired right before the pit entry in a full safety car coming out. Nino's put the super soft tyres on so he can come back through the field. I wonder if anyone will copy that, because the super soft tyres did look good at the end of the feature race. Do you think maybe some of the medium runners towards the back of the field, especially Frankie with the front wing damage, will come in and put the super softs on?
You really haven't got a lot to lose. You might as well go for something different, and you saw it ended up working for Funky the last time, a late pit stop under the safety car. That's how he ended up taking the victory. Blizzard, I imagine he'll be able to get that penalty removed in the stewards. The game is very harsh when it comes to collision penalties under the safety cars, so even if he doesn't end up finishing on the podium in the game results, won't surprise me if that position gets given back to him towards the end. This just closes the field up even more. Probably the last thing Mays wanted. With the struggles on his tyres, perhaps even he might think about coming into the pits.
Absolutely, yeah, he is really struggling for pace. Coutinho, after passing him down into turn 1.5 seconds clear by the time the safety car came out, I think. So Coutinho's absolutely gone from Mays, but again, Coutinho is going to be compromised in the race lead with the safety car coming out. Let's wait and see if anyone comes into the pit lane. Everyone seems to have kept it pretty clean so far. No one in the top 10, I believe, is running with any sort of front wing damage. Legend and Wesker have worked their way forwards nicely. They're now 9th and 10th, coming back through after their skirmishes at the end of the feature race. We've got a lot of people actually looking to come into the pit lane. So Scuba's coming in, Matt Tibos has come in, looks like Siege is coming into pit lane as well. So the top 5 have all stayed out. Siege has come into the pit lane. Matt Tibos actually backed out of coming into pit lane, so did Scuba. So in the end, actually, Siege and Frankie, the only ones going for something different.
Yeah, Frankie, it definitely makes sense with the damage. I wasn't expecting too many of the front guys to pick. Coutinho sort of tried a half-hearted dummy, just veered over to the left and then changed his mind quite early on in the end. We'll see if this works for Siege and Frankie. I haven't really got a lot to lose. Might as well try something different. Siege, he's been another driver I'd sort of put in that Nino category of has shown a lot of pace, but for whatever reason for Siege, apart from, you know, second place in the sprint race in Spain, he was actually third in the championship before this. He could have easily had a lot better results than that. He retired on the last lap in the sprint race in Bahrain. I think he really wants to get some good performances in, and we were talking at the start of the night about drivers who might do well as the season come on. Siege is another one who could easily pop up with a few wins throughout this season.
Absolutely, yeah, that is something to look out for. Like you say, he is in a very similar category to Nino in that they have the pace to win a race. It's just not come together for them so far. But yeah, the ultimate strategy really here for Siege, he's going to try and work his way through the cars in front pretty quickly. But the problem for him is the first 4 cars he comes up against are some of the fastest people in the lobby today. So the first 4 cars he's got to try and pass through on the mediums. I think Josh has obviously left the session, so he won't worry too much about Josh's car. But Yaram, Wesker and Legend have been probably the top 5 fastest people in the lobby today. So he's got some real competition very early on in his battle to get back to the front.
Yeah, the first 2 laps are going to be crucial for all of those guys on the super soft tyres, because DRS will not get activated until 2 laps after the safety car comes in. As soon as that's activated, with how close everyone is, there's going to be a huge queue of cars, all with DRS. That's going to make it a lot tougher to get any overtakes done.
Absolutely, yeah. Just looking at the running order then as we come to start lap 6. We're almost halfway through this race, amazingly. It's Coutinho then that leads from 6th on the grid. He's had a great start to this race, so he's up in the lead. Mays is holding on to 2nd at the moment. The safety car is a bit of a breather for him. He was struggling a little bit for pace before the safety car came out, but he's going to be keeping 2nd for the time being, and the lack of people having DRS behind him could keep him in 2nd place for a little while yet as well. So he thinks of running in the podium. This would be great for him, a great confidence booster if he can finally get a podium in Formula 2. He has been close to getting a podium a few times before, especially last season. It's just never played out for him, unfortunately. He's running in 3rd at the moment, Graham running in 4th, Blizzard up to 5th, Scuba in 6th. He's had a good comeback after his poor feature race. Matt Tibos down to 7th. He's struggled for pace early on. Legend rounds off the top 8 at the moment in the Trident car. He's come through from the very back of the grid, 15th on the grid, running in 8th. He's halfway through the field already. We'll have to wait and see whether Legend can maybe pull off a bit of a comeback here and maybe work his way back towards the front again. He's definitely had the pace to do it in the feature race. Maybe he can do it again in the sprint.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a bit tough for him, if I'm being honest, but you never know. Matt Tibos hasn't really shown great pace at the moment, but he's kept it nice and clean so far in this race. He's in 7th position, but there's a lot of fast guys up that front end of the field, especially Coutinho, Blizzard and Scuba, and despite having all that damage in the feature race, Graham's always there, or thereabouts. It's amazing how he always seems to be near the front towards the end of these sprint races.
Absolutely, yeah, that is something to look out for Graham. Along with Blizzard, Graham has been incredibly consistent. Graham's not shown really a race-winning pace so far this season, but still, he's managed to work his way to the front, like you say, in a lot of races. He runs in really the mid top 10 at the moment. And the good thing for him is that a lot of people that are faster than him are having very up and down seasons at the moment. So Siege will have a good result and then retire, like you say, like he did in Bahrain. Same with Coutinho not being here at Spain and obviously not winning the race in the feature race this time round. And same with the likes of Scuba as well. Scuba showed really, really good pace all season, but had a terrible Bahrain weekend, had a better Spain one, but is now struggling again to get the car to the front of the grid here in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, for whatever reason, and that could end up deciding the championship. You've got drivers like Blizzard who somehow, I think even he'll admit he doesn't know how he ended up finishing second place in that last race, but he did, came back from a bad qualifying. He's moved up a couple of places so far in this sprint race. He's probably not made the same amount of progress that he usually does, but that could all change once the safety car decides to come in, and they are going to have another lap, it looks like, under the safety car, so they will have 4 racing laps to go. This is going to be very close. Of course, the longer this goes on, the more it looks as though it may have been a mistake for Siege especially to come into the pits.
Absolutely, yeah. We're starting lap 7 now, so we'll probably have the safety car come in at the end of lap 7. DRS will not be activated until the end of the start, really, of lap 10. So they're only really going to have 2 laps, really, with DRS to really make anything stick. So this is a real compromise strategy now for Siege, who was running in 5th place before he came in. He's now down in 12th. He's lost 7 places because of it, and it's gifted championship leader Blizzard another place. So like you say, he's really compromised at this point. I think both Uni-Virtuosis had nothing to lose. They were running at the back with front wing damage anyway, but still, this has really compromised Siege's strategy now, and the best really he can hope for maybe is a lower end top 10 finish.
Yeah, Josh isn't in the lobby, so that'll be one place he'll be able to get. Johan, we know, is a quick driver. Wesker, the legend, showed good pace earlier, especially Legend. I do feel a bit sorry for him getting caught out by the VSC role, but he seems to be doing okay in this race. There's some really quick drivers, and I think we've shown we're going to have a good F2 season. I know we've got that group at the front of Coutinho, Blizzard, and Josh, probably, who look like the pure fastest on pure pace, but we've also seen tonight mistakes from every single one of them.
Absolutely, yeah, they've all managed to make mistakes in the feature race at least, and it's what you do with really those mistakes, whether you're able to recover from them. And at the moment, it seems Coutinho recovered somewhat, but made a crucial error right at the end of the feature race that lost him the win. Blizzard really is the only one so far that's really recovered from any sort of error. He had, you won't believe it, if you didn't tune into the feature race, you missed a crazy end to the race, but Blizzard started at the back of the grid, did 3 pit stops, had massive amounts of front wing damage midway through the race, and somehow finished the race in 2nd place, nearly won it, nearly stole it on the line, lost the race by 16 thousandths of a second. So Blizzard again showing that he can make the best out of any situation.
Yeah, somehow seems to keep hanging on to get the podium, as we mentioned earlier on. He does have a 5-second penalty that he gained right at the start of this safety car period, but it shouldn't be too difficult to get that removed, as we're just waiting now. The lights come off. Yeah, the safety car is coming in then on this lap. Coutinho now slowing them all down. These mediums are going to be pretty hard to get warmed up, back up to temperature at this point in the race, so that might help those at the back on the super soft tyres. Just will they have enough time to catch up? And how will Mays do, as he was struggling, and Coutinho looks to have dropped the throttle and gone for it now.
He's gone, yeah, and Yaram's picked up a time penalty for contact with someone at the safety car restart. It looks like he's had contact with Wesker, so Yaram already compromised. Matt Tibos didn't react to the safety car restart very well. He shot well off the back of Scuba, but it's going to be Coutinho leading into turn 1. Mays actually having a look down the inside. He had great straight line speed there, but he's not able to make a move 6. He thinks it holds 3rd. Graham, oh, a massive slide there from Graham on the exit of turn 1. Same for Blizzard, really echoed there by Blizzard. They both had a little bit of a wobble coming out of turn 1. Scuba's in 6th, Matt Tibos under pressure from Legend and Wesker. Legend and Wesker are side by side through turn 2. Legend looks like he's just gonna hold on to 8th place. Wesker tucks back in behind him. Meanwhile, further back, it looks like Siege hasn't had the best of restarts. He isn't able to challenge. Yaram is actually under pressure from Nino down into turn 3. Into turn 3 we go then. Wesker has to stick him behind. Wesker's actually hit him behind again by Yaram. Nino really late on the race. He's worked his way past Siege, so Siege loses another place. And actually Siege under pressure now from Frankie, who's looking around the outside. Siege really struggling on these super softs. But at the front of the field, Coutinho already a second clear. He's gone out front.
Yeah, Coutinho just gone, had a fantastic start. Mays holding on as well. In the end, Siege went a bit deep into turn 3. Oh, little Romaninho's in the wall again. He's got
Oh,
away without retiring, but that's big front wing damage, so really any chances he got of getting decent points from this sprint race have gone. He will have to pit, surely. Anyway, but won't gain anything other than 14th position, and wouldn't surprise me if he ends up retiring the car, and there we go.
yeah, we go. He hits the wall in the castle section. So Nino's sprint race, he joined the sprint race late, and it's really gone horribly wrong for him. He brings out the yellow flag, but I don't think we're going to get a safety car at this point in the race. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Coutinho's middle sector, 2 seconds clear. He's so fast. Blizzard down the inside of Graham for turn 16. Is he going to get the move stuck before the straight? Graham gives him just enough space on the inside. Blizzard forces his way through, but is a little bit sideways on the exit. Graham's going to get a better run. They're going to be side by side through the kink here. Is Blizzard going to back off? He does. He backs out of the throttle so that there's no contact with Graham in front. But he's going to have the run now down into turn 1. Graham's fallen off the back of Z3 ever so slightly. Z3 are now starting to challenge Mays in front as well. Graham goes to the inside. Blizzard's going to go to the outside for turn 1. Have a look for Z3 in front on Mays as well. Coutinho sets the fastest lap of the race on the restart. He's warmed his tyres up nicely. Z3 are down the inside of Mays towards turn 1. Is he going to get the move stuck? A little bit of contact. Mays is trying to hold it around the outside. Blizzard, meanwhile, goes all the way around the outside of Graham at turn 1. He pulls the move off. Nice move from Blizzard. Down the inside. Z3 again at turn 2. Still Mays is holding it around the outside. This is great defensive driving from Mays. They're side by side, dead level now, coming down towards turn 3. Here they go. Z3 are again going to have the inside line, but can Mays still hold it around the outside? Mays has got great straight line speed in that Dam's car. They go into turn 3 again, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact, but it looks like Z3 might have the move stuck this time. Z3 are up into second place. Mays can't battle it anymore. Z3 has made his way through and is looking dead set for his first podium of the season.
Yeah, credit to Mays. We saw how hard he defended from Graham earlier. He really just put up a fight and somehow managed to hold on for a long time. So that's just allowed Coutinho to really escape from these guys.
Sorry to jump in. Graham's made a mistake. We've seen our first real mistake from Graham this season. He's dropped right to the back of the queue. He's hit the wall somewhere. So I wonder whether he's spun coming out of turn 4. He's hit the wall, damaged his front wing, is now running in 13th. That's disastrous for second place man in the championship.
Yeah, most definitely. Wall still managed to pick up possibly a couple of points, but it's not gone to plan for him as Blizzard has got ahead of Mays. That must have been a very brave move around 11 and 12. Now Blizzard's going to sit after his teammate Z Freaks to try and get another second position, and that would amazingly be his second place, I believe, of the season.
That would be, yeah. Just look, remember though, Blizzard does have a time penalty. Frankie looks like he's made a mistake at turn 16. Yaram had a spin as well coming out of the castle section. He's now down in 13th place. Wesker and Legend are somehow 6th and 7th in this race. Siege is back up to 9th. He's doing all right at the moment. He's on the back of Matt Tibos now for P8. He's nearly back into the top 8 positions, but it's not been quite the comeback that Siege was hoping for towards the end. We come to start lap 10. 2 laps to go in this race. Coutinho leads by 3.7 seconds. He's disappeared out front of 53.9 as well to set the fastest lap. Great lap from him. Blizzard is running in 3rd, just behind his teammate Scuba, having a look down the inside of Mays now for turn 1. Again, Mays holding it round the outside. Mays looking very confident round the outside of turn 1 and 2 and is able to hold the place once again. Mays is not the easiest person to overtake here. He may not quite have the pace of the guys in front, but it's looking very difficult to pass Mays at the moment as here comes Blizzard on the back of his Carlin teammate. I imagine Z3 probably won't fight this one too hard. It doesn't look like he won't. Blizzard's going to go down the inside. Can he gap the guys enough by 5 seconds to at least keep on the podium? It's looking hard to do so at the moment, but Blizzard up into second on the road once again, ahead of his teammate, but still 4 seconds behind Coutinho, who looks dead set to win this one as we've got more contact. Tibos is off the road at turn 3. I don't know if he's had help there, but he's ended up in the wall. Siege is up into 8th place, looking further in behind as well. Scuba's still stuck behind Mays, so Mays just about holding on to 4th at the moment.
Yeah, I think something might have happened between Tibos and Funky. They were fairly close together, and Funky does have front wing damage, so Virtuosi going for that different strategy. They had no choice really when the safety car come out. It's backfired for them, and Siege, he's not been able to make the same pace up through the field, and I've just noticed he's got some front wing damage as well. Mays holding these guys up could just be what saves Blizzard. Blizzard's already got a 3-second gap over Mays. Scuba all over the back of him at the moment, so surely he'll be able to get past heading into turn 1, but I thought that of Graham and I thought that of Z Freakso, and Mays didn't make it easy for the pair of them.
Absolutely, and at the moment Blizzard has gapped these guys by over 3 seconds already, so Blizzard is nearly at the crucial 5-second window to hold on to P3 at least in this race. Scuba's got to make this move stick now if he wants any shot of getting on the podium. Same for Wesker and Legend, they're going to want to get a move on as well. Wesker and Legend have come through the pack nicely towards the end here. It's not quite going to work out for them for a podium, I don't think, but here goes Scuba now on the back of Mays. Scuba much closer this time around going into turn 1. It looks like a dead set overtake for Scuba. Coutinho sets the fastest lap, immediately beaten by Blizzard at 53.1. A great lap from him, another fastest lap this season for Blizzard. He's picking up all the points that he can. Scuba now down the inside, well, around the outside really towards turn 1. He's breezed past Maze this time around. He's up into 4th place. He's just got to keep within 5 seconds of Blizzard to take a podium position here after what was a fairly tumultuous feature race for him in the end. Maze now under pressure from Wesker, but Maze again with great straight line speed. He's able to defend enough from Wesker and is going to keep P5 down into turn 3. So whether he can stay in P5 for the rest of the lap. But oh, Scuba, a big slide there through turn 3. Let's see if he can hold on to P4. Is he going to hold it down in towards turn 4? He just about holds onto the place, but Maze trying to switch back on him. Great driving here from Maze. He's going to go round the outside towards turn 5. Does he late enough on the brakes to pull it off? Scuba down the inside. He backs out. Maze is back into P4.
Impressive driving from Mace. Scuba just seemed to get past and then all of a sudden start struggling with his tyre grip. They have done 10 laps on these tyres already. They are on the 11th, but some of them were under the safety car, so I am surprised they are struggling at this moment in time. Wesker all over the back of Scuba as well, not able to take advantage. I think this is going to be similar to what we saw in the feature race with a slipstream towards the end between some of those guys. Coutinho though, he's checked out. He's 5 seconds clear from Blizzard. Only got a few corners to go before he ends up taking the victory. Blizzard pushing as hard as possible. We've seen that as he driving really, really fast to try and obviously get onto that podium. It's going to be pretty close with some of these guys, but Coutinho, it's going to be a fairly straightforward victory then in the sprint race.
Absolutely. Here comes Coutinho then down the pit straight towards the line. It could have been this dominant feature race win for him, but it didn't pay off. 2 big mistakes in the race cost him a shot at the win in 2 different occasions, but he's going to get the sprint race. He's going to win the sprint race here at Azerbaijan. He takes it ahead of Blizzard in second on the road. He's going to lose second though to Z3, who's going to pick up his first podium in TTML. He's going to get his podium into second place. Scuba is going to nick third in the end. Blizzard drops to 5th. So Blizzard loses his first podium. He falls off the podium for the first time this season by only 0.6 of a second in the end. Scuba steals 3rd place ahead of Maze in 4th by only 0.2 of a second in the end. But yeah, Coutinho making up for the problems in the feature race, in the sprint race, but still, Blizzard scoring a P5. He would have extended his championship lead by the end of this race.
Yeah, most definitely. And we said again, when it comes to the stewards, we do see them 5-second penalties get removed quite often under the safety car. Wesker also ended up dropping a long way down the order, but I think Coutinho will be very happy that he managed to recover from that. Z-Freaks are getting a fantastic result, and Scuba managing to get on the podium as well.
Absolutely, yeah. This is a problem though for Coutinho. As obviously he showed really dominant performance at Bahrain. He obviously wasn't here for Spain. Coutinho definitely has the pace to beat Blizzard on track in a straight head-to-head fight. But Coutinho missing out on that Spain weekend has given Blizzard such a head start in this championship.
Most definitely.
Absolutely, yes. I think we might have lost Luke there, unfortunately, once again. But we'll run you through the sprint race order towards the end then of this session. So it's Coutinho that wins the sprint race in the end. Z3 takes his first podium in TTML Formula 2. He takes second place. Great result from him. He'll be very happy with his performance in both races today. Scuba takes third ahead of Maze in 4th. Good result from him. Blizzard in 5th. Legend 6th on the back of the grid. Siege in 7th ahead of Wesker 8th. Josh 9th. He was actually out of the session and his AI car managed to finish in 9th place. Graham takes only P10 ahead of Frankie, Matt Tibos, Yarum, Nino, Cowboy and Pariah all did not finish the sprint race. So it's fair to say that both the feature and the sprint race here were pretty atrocious races.
Yeah, definitely. We saw like a lot of retirements. Coutinho came through in the end, and a lot of mistakes as well from the drivers that did finish.
Absolutely, yeah, a number of mistakes throughout the field from a lot of people, but in the end it is Coutinho that takes the sprint race win. It would have made up a little bit for the disappointment of the feature race for him. Blizzard, for the first time this season, after a 5-race podium run, finishes off the podium, but we'll have to wait and see whether he does get that time penalty removed. As you say, he could get back on the podium if he does so. But that is where we're going to round off today's racing. Before we go, Luke, I'm going to push you for your driver of the day. Who do you think got driver of the day today for you?
That is a tough one. I think in the end I'm just going to go for Blizzard, just for his doggedness in that feature race to manage to come through. Just reading here, I said Josh retired right at the end of the feature race. His gearbox blew on the way towards the checkered flag. That's why he ended up missing out on what I believe would have ended up being 9 or 10 points. I think it would have been for 10th place, so that could prove costly at the end of the season. And obviously he wasn't in for the sprint race, but Blizzard another all-round great performance from him. He's going to be tough with this consistency because even when it goes bad, it somehow seems to end up going good.
Absolutely, yeah. No matter what seems to happen in a race for Blizzard, he's able to get to the front of the field, which is amazing. Kugini is going to be a little bit frustrated that he couldn't capitalise on the mistakes of Blizzard in the feature race. But that was going to where we're going to round off. I probably would agree with you with Blizzard with the dogginess in the feature race, and I would give a shout out to Kugini as well, just based on the pace he had. But those feature race mistakes massively cost him in the end. But that was where we're going to round off today's stream. Tune in to League Racing TV for the rest of the week. Division 3 and 2 are racing tomorrow for TTML. And then we've got Division 4 and 5. They will be racing as well on Friday. And then CRC will be live at 8 o'clock as well on Saturday and Sunday for LMP3 and IndyCar. So keep tuned to League Racing TV for the rest of the week. There's plenty more to come from us as the commentary team. But again, thank you, Luke, for joining me today. Unfortunately, didn't have the best internet connection today. Hopefully Virgin Media sorts it out for next week. But yeah, that is where we're going to round off. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for racing. Thank you everyone for commenting on the stream. And we will see you again this time next week. From Luke and myself, it is goodbye.